Hello everyone, thanks for checking in. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. Had to get that out real quick. We're back. We're doing another Lightroom tutorial today. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Make sure everybody can hear me just fine, which I'm sure they can because I can see the levels are working. So welcome everyone. Thanks for coming in. It's 8:01 p.m. So I think we're right on time. Welcome Reggie, welcome Fred, welcome Chuck, welcome Owen, Joshua, Justin, Cohen. Welcome everybody. Yeah, so this is really nice. I love not having Josh here because it means I don't have to wear my headphones. So I already feel like I'm more myself, which is really nice. Why don't we jump right in. We got a lot more submissions, which is really super cool. So thank you everybody for participating. This is a lot of fun. I hope you're learning something. I also am I'm learning things too. So if you guys have any tips, tricks, or thoughts about how you want to see some of these photos edited, let me know. More than happy to entertain any ideas. First things first, I need to have a sip of my Caesar, which is appropriately in a Canada mug. Yeah, it's like a tomato clam juice cocktail. A lot of people might find it disgusting. I really like it. Yum. All right. Let's get right into it. Oh, that FJ80 is pretty rad. Thank you very much for saying so, David. I've had a lot of fun with that build. It's hard to know where to look. Yeah, a lot of people have been watching that running video, which is very, very cool. An unexpected kind of surprise. Running videos don't usually get as much attention as like this stuff and, you know, build videos and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a fun video and I had a really good time building that truck. And I'm really kind of happy with the progress and how well it's kind of come along. And how well it drives too. So, yeah. Let's get over to Lightroom, and there it is. Yay! Well, let me extend that side window out a little bit so you don't see the edges. There we go. All right. So this first photo here was from who's this from? This was from somebody by the name of Plukenstein. I assume that's their name. Let's just say that it is. I'm going to just move my monitor slightly here so I can see the chat a little bit better. Hi, James from Portland, Oregon. Sweden, Anders, hello. Cohen, Dale, Reggie, David, Ryan, Eamon. Chongi. I like that name. None of that Bloody Mary fake shiz, that's for sure. No, we're going real. Okay, let's take a look at this photo. This is from Plukenstein. I really like a lot of what's going on here. We got a nice depth of field, nice and blurry in the background, big beautiful blue sky, tons of foreground though. And I wonder if maybe we can kind of reduce that size overall. Let's go over to develop and let's start with a little crop first of all. I don't want to adjust too much left and right though. So rather than do like sort of a constrained crop, I think I'll just kind of crop it this way a bit and make it a little more 4:3 than it was before. And I mean, I guess within the crop tool, you can actually keep the aspect ratio. And so why don't we actually escape and go back here. We'll go back to crop and we'll go to a 4:3, which is actually, let's go 4:5, 8:10. So if you wanted to print this out, you could do that. That is your standard 4:5, 8:10. If we, actually, I think we can actually now go in here and it should, yeah, see, there you go. So it constrains to if you turned it left and right. So let's do that. And actually, you know what? Rule of thirds, that's pretty solid right there. You still get a nice bit of foreground elements, still get lots of background. That to me is a much better crop on that photo. So let's apply that, and now we can start working with it. You can see that this truck has a really nice patina. Let's zoom in a little bit further. How do we do that? Where are my tools? I've lost my tools. Oh, maybe that's as far as we can go because of resolution. Right. Okay. Shame about the body post, but you know what? Whatever. This is a photo editing tutorial, not a tiny truck tutorial. I really do like it, though. I think it was probably shot on an iPhone or something similar, because you can see around these edges here it's a little bit soft. And that's because the photo software is trying its best to kind of determine where the background starts and the subject ends. You can see it especially in photos of like dogs and things with a lot of hair. It's always going to be a bit like, where's the edges? And they get really blurry really quickly. So that's what that is there. So we can't really do too much about that. This isn't a Photoshop tutorial, but I love the color. I love the patina. Why don't we play a little bit with that color? First, I'm going to throw a vignette on it. Maybe a heavy one, because I really want to have some real depth here. I also wouldn't mind playing a bit with the shadows, because it feels like it's really starting to fall off and it's kind of crushed in the blacks there. So we're going to bring up some of that information. You can see it's already bringing some more life to the photo. You get to see the texture in the tires now, which I think is really great. Maybe even bring up the blacks a little bit, just so we get a bit more detail. Still preserving a lot of the shadows though, and a lot of the blackness, so I think that's looking pretty good in terms of that. But what I did want to do to have a bit more fun with this is I wanted to pull all the color out of the rest of the scene. Actually, you know what? Let's give it a touch more clarity overall. That kind of makes it a bit more dramatic as well. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the HSL color here. And I'm going to click on saturation. And this is a fun tool, and it can really bring a lot of drama to a photo. Especially something like this where the focus is the truck. That teal color looks awesome. I really want to preserve that, and I want to kind of show that off. So the best way that I've found to do that, and it's kind of a quick, maybe not the most efficient or best way of doing it, but if you, in your HSL color section here, if you just start pulling down all the dials for all the colors that aren't that teal, look what's happening in the photo. Instantly, we're getting a lot more attention here. We've pulled all the saturation out of these elements here, so it like instantly becomes all about that teal. We'll pull out the green even, and we'll leave the aqua, but we'll get rid of the blue so the sky goes away. We'll get rid of purple because there's a little bit of tiny bit of purple in there, and the magenta, and now we'll boost the saturation of that aqua. That looks awesome. Isn't that cool? What a cool effect. I really, really, really dig that one. And it's not very difficult, as you can see. Now, there are a few more things that we can probably do here, and maybe this is pretty dramatic, and it's sort of like maybe more artistic way of looking at it. But we can actually kind of pull some of these colors back in, especially in some of the foreground elements. Like if we go orange and bring up some of the reds, now you're getting some of that texture and some of those browns from the elements in the foreground. It's also affecting this background here too. So maybe there's a way that we can get rid of that if we use the brush tool and not do exposure. Set that to 0. Maybe this will work. I'm not entirely sure, but if we just try to suck the saturation out by going like this, and then that, and it pulls it right out. Yes, sweet. And we'll do the same over here. There's actually a lot of brown in there, so maybe that's not the best way to do that one. We'll go look with a larger brush and just kind of like hack at it like that. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. What do you guys think? I'm going to go through some of the comments here and see if there's anything that's come up. Can you guys have a R34 GTR in Canada? Please see this. I don't know what that means, Scorpion. Sorry. Hi, Mike from Central Illinois. Thanks for checking in. Oh, Captain Kuth, congrats. That's pretty cool. That's really actually very cool. I love it when RPP chooses fans' photos for their promotional stuff. So that's pretty cool. Nice job. What's up, Eddie? Hi, Brandon. Hi, Travis from Akron. Craig, totally digging the look. All right, thanks, man. That's cool. I think this adds a lot of drama, and I think it looks pretty neat. I don't know that I would really want to do anything else. I think that kind of nails that one, actually. Yeah. If you guys are good, we'll do a little before-after. So here's the before. And all rights on its own, a good-looking photo. And then there's the after. Lots more drama. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Has anybody, this is a question actually for everyone who's watching, who has tried doing some of these things on their own photos? And if you're not using Lightroom, you can of course use the photo editing app on your iPhone or your Android phone. I mean, you know, not everybody will shell out for Lightroom. There might be a free version, I'm not sure. Even the trial might be worth looking at. But there's one right now. And I mean, you know, it's for me, this is a lot of fun, and it kind of takes your photography to that next level and brings a lot of realism and really, you know, can make things like this pop and really just kind of make it shine and bring a lot more interest. And people will definitely take a better look at a photo like this than the first example, right? So just doing fun stuff like this can really up your game and also get you more likes on Instagram for sure. So there's one done. Thank you for that submission too, by the way. That was really cool. What else have we gotten here? Oh, this is a good one here. Nice VS410. I'll have to check to see who this one is from. There are so many photos coming through, it's hard for me to keep track of everyone's. So bear with me while I kind of scroll through the emails and find out whose this is. Talk amongst yourselves. I can't find it actually. That's weird. But there's lots of nice ones coming through, so I do appreciate it. Darn it. There's a lot of emails. You know what? I should write down where these are coming from as soon as they come in. It would be a lot easier for me to keep track of everything. But that's something I'll do for the next one. Oh well. The good news is when I do these live, I always send them out to whoever sent them to me. So you'll always get a corrected photo back, which is pretty nice, in my opinion. All right, we're gonna have to move on. I can't find the photo, or I can't find the submission from who this came from, which is super annoying. I'm sorry. There were a lot this week. So, which is good for me. Man, so many. Oh Lord, so many. Okay, enough of that. Sorry, I digress. Let's go back to getting this photo edited here, because this is probably more important. If anybody out there is watching and this is their photo, throw a comment down there, and we'll definitely do something with that. Okay, let's get back to it. All right, so good looking photo here. I like the stream. I like the truck. Subject is nice little bit of a 3/4 there. The mud splatter and dirt all looks pretty realistic, which is really nice. Only bummer is this shadow in the foreground here, which is not a huge deal. We can probably crop a little bit around it, and we'll do our best to sort of get rid of most of it. And you know what? In fact, it'll actually probably work fairly well as sort of like a foreground rock or something. Yeah, I like that background. I think that's going to really pop nicely. Okay, how's that look? That's a bit better of a crop. You still get a nice bit of the stream there, but the truck is definitely the focus. That's looking good. Moose Jaw, yeah, it's true. All I know is I see these rigs and I want them too. All right, what can we do with this one? Well, it's already a pretty warm photo. I wonder what would happen if we cool it off. See, we kind of lose a bit of that warmth. I don't like that. If we go a little more extreme on the warmth, that could do it. Yeah, like that. Exposure-wise, I think we're pretty good where we're at. I wouldn't want to go too much darker. Maybe around there. I'm going to boost contrast or lower contrast a bit because I do want to make out some more of that texture in the background. Probably reduce some of our highlights because it is a little hot overall. Pull up those shadows a little bit and bring in some texture because I love this mud. This mud splattering is really nice. Dehaze, do we need to do that? Not really. Adds a bit of sharpness overall. You can see how it affects the shadows when you do that. We'll leave that in. Vibrance is nice too. I like boosting that a little bit. And definitely saturation, but just a touch. Because if you go too far, it really starts to get weird in the yellows there. So let's just keep it right around there. Yeah. Let's do a foreground mask here. And of course, it defaults to the last thing we did, which was pulling saturation out. So we're just going to leave that up there. You know, we're going to play with that shadow. We're going to actually use it to our advantage and darken down that whole thing there. Maybe pull this up a little bit more. Pull this back down. And actually going to lower the sharpness of that window just a hair. That looks pretty good. And I think we'll commit that for now. Overall, I'm going to bring more clarity in because I love what this does, and I really like seeing that dirt kind of get amplified a little bit by texturizing and sharpening up the edges. So we're going to do that for sure. What else can we do? Let's go down to our HSL saturation selector here. Maybe we'll pull down some of these oranges, right? Because that's what's really making the extreme kind of over cranked in the yellows. So we're going to bring that down a little bit. I'm going to bring up my greens and maybe even adjust the luminance of those because I want to bring some more love to those trees in the background without overdoing it. Definitely going to increase our aqua and our blues because I want to really get that truck to pop a little bit more. That's looking pretty good. And then maybe we'll do another window, another grad filter over here. Again, don't worry, it's just defaulting there because of the previous thing that we did. So we'll pull our saturation back up. And just going to texturize that a little bit. Maybe pull the shadows down a little bit. And our exposure just a touch as well. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. This one's really just more about cleaning it up a little bit, recropping, and adding just a touch more saturation and sharpening overall. It's not really necessary to do like a ton of stuff to a photo. Every once in a while, it's nice to just do a nice subtle correction. So let's, I wonder if I can do a full screen on that. Yeah, here, I wanted, there we go. So that's full screen. You can get a nice look at the whole photo, which is pretty good. Yeah, how's everybody feeling about that one? Let's do a before. See, not a ton of difference. After, just a crop, a little more saturation and clarity overall. That's it. That one's looking pretty good, I think. You know what? Let's see what a vignette would do. That almost... See, that's really making the truck the focus for sure. I wonder if that's almost too much, though. Thoughts? On. Off. On. Off. Anybody? I think off. On? Off? Off? On? More for on. Definitely more for on. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 ons. 1, 2, 3, 4 offs. 6 ons. Dial it back. Okay, I'll split the difference with you guys. Let's go medium. There we go. Sold. All right, that's another one done. I think that's looking pretty good. I do need a poll option. Is that something I can do on here? Yeah, I agree. Scenery is very nice. I don't think we need to do too much to dial it back. I think that looks pretty good. I think we'll leave it right there. John's Tiny Trucks, it's your truck. You say off. Okay, well, off it is. None. None and done. Perfect. So we'll leave that one. Thanks for checking in, John's Tiny Trucks. That's really cool. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. Let's move on to another one. Maybe we'll do a filter or a preset on this next one. All right. But you did like the medium. Okay, well, you know what? I'll make a choice afterwards. I'll make a final decision, and we'll leave it there. This is a great photo. I like the background elements of this dam. It's a damn fine dam. And then there's some nice waterfall action over on the right-hand side here. Nice big photo, which is great. Nice purple truck. Looks to be... What does that look like? It looks like it's got reefs. Oh, this is probably an element. Yep, I think that's an element. Good looking truck. Winch and everything. Great background though, and great foreground rocks too. Everything there looks really nice. Don't know what that is. Oh, it's just a rock with some green on it. Okay, no problem. Why don't we get rid of that rock though? I don't like it. See if we can find a nice thing to correct it with. This tool sometimes works pretty well. It kind of depends. Ah, there we go. Nice. There we go. Like you'd never know that green rock was there. Amazing. All right. Let's start playing around here. This, it's already nicely corrected in terms of the purple. I find sometimes cameras have a really hard time capturing that color overall. I'm just going to give it a touch more texture and clarity. I really like kind of bringing those rocks to life. Let's do a radial mask here. And you can see, because of course I set this up to be like desaturated on the outside there. If I invert it, then the truck becomes desaturated. We don't really want to do that though, so we're going to go back up to full saturation, and maybe we'll invert this again and just kind of play around a little bit with some yellow, warm it up a little touch, because it is summer, right? I deleted his pet rock. Yes, I did. I have an aversion to those pet rocks. I don't know if you can hear my dog galloping around upstairs, but that's what he's doing. Shadows on the outside, let's leave that, and let's invert this again. Because I want to affect just the truck here. I'm going to pull these shadows down because I don't want to see the wires and stuff as much as I am now. Let's kind of leave that. And I'm going to go to the brush tool here and shrink this right down super small. And paint those wires out. And pull the shadows down. Bring some black back in there. Now those wires are gone there. And we can do another one. The same thing there. Just so they don't stick out as much. There. That's a bit better. Cool. All right. Let's look at some presets. Now there's a whole bunch that come with the actual software. These are just sort of like basic presets, high contrast and detail. You're just amplifying a lot of the blacks and giving a lot more contrast, and actually does a pretty nice job. You can go super vivid over the whole thing, or matte back some of those colors. Then there's a bunch of creative ones where they get like, you know, desaturated contrast or cool light, turquoise and red. This one's actually pretty good because it's affecting the blues in the sky. It's also affecting the foreground rocks. I actually think that's pretty dope. So we're going to leave that one on. But I think we'll do a little bit of a grad in the front here just to give it a bit more depth. And we're just going to pull the exposure down and amplify the saturation. How about now? Back? Okay, great. Cool. That was scary. That's so bizarre. Anyway, hopefully that's still working. So weird. Anyway, yay. Happy we're back. So let's do a little before and after on that one, because it is worth doing it. Before? After. It's really just kind of amplifying a lot of the color there and just bringing it to life, getting rid of some of those minor details that kind of took away a bit from the truck. I think that looks really good. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Cool. So let's commit that one, and we'll send that out to whoever submitted that. Thank you very much again to everybody who is submitting these photos. It really makes these live streams a lot easier, because if I didn't have the photos, you'd just be watching me edit my own photos, and that's not fun. Okay, let's do another one. I think this one's gonna be pretty fun. Chapman Todd C. The best way to send a photo to me is through submissions@scalebuildersguild.com. It should be in the description, so you can just send your photos to me that way. I prefer RAWs or really high-res JPEGs, but if, you know, whatever your phone shoots in, you can send those along too. So this one is a very cool photo. Good, nice looking LC70 Land Cruiser on some really intense red rocks. That is awesome. It's a really nice contrast too, because you're getting this really stark white truck right in the center and some really cool textured rocks. Yeah, TIFFs work too, PNGs, whatever, but JPEGs and RAWs are sort of what I prefer. So send those when you can. We are going to do a crop on this though. There's a little too much foreground for my liking. Yeah, somewhere maybe in there is probably a little bit better. You still get full truck. You're not losing any of the background or foreground or any of the rocks. It's just making the framing slightly better. And I'm not going to change the temperature because I actually think that looks really good. Because when you... Actually, you know what? Maybe dialing back that warmth isn't that bad of an idea. When you go like over here and you get a lot more blues into your whites, you can actually kind of get even more texture out of those rocks. So somewhere in the middle, right? Because this is pretty saturated. Even the whites are a little warm. So if we dial it back just a little bit, you still get all that red rock, and we can actually go in and adjust those anyway afterwards in the HSL. This just brings a little bit more clean white into the truck. Gives you a ton more range back here. I think this is going to be a lot of fun now. So let's get this sky really boosted. And we can kind of do this. Massive boost in saturation. And maybe even bring the exposure down a little bit. Now you can start to see those clouds and that blue sky coming out of there. That is nice. I like that a lot. Sharpness, I wonder if we can... It's probably not going to hold up, so we'll actually probably blur that. Bring that down. Bring the noise down too. And yeah. That looks pretty good. Texture, we're going to pull that all the way out. And you can actually see what's happening there. If I can... I think... Z... Yeah. And then hand tool. Oops. All right. So what I wanted to show you here is when you this this bit of the sky here has some actual like resolution issues. So when you pull the texture out, you actually make it smoother. So it's getting rid of some of that, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. Anyway, it's like pixelization. That's what I was looking for. So that actually looks a ton better in the sky now. I think that really helps. And then overall, let's bring a bit more clarity into the shot. Not overdo it though, just a bit. Same with texture. Like, look at how much those rocks come to life as you scroll through the texture wheel. That looks amazing. And you can tell whenever this was shot, the photographer, whoever shot this, probably put that filter on that allows you to make it feel as if it's that tiny world. Tilt shift. So they probably put the tilt shift filter on because you can see on the left and the right there's a lot of blurring going on, and then right down the center everything is sharp. So actually, you know, that looks pretty good. Let's go down to the HSL here and see if we can't really bring these rocks to life even further. Like, that's way over cranking. That's actually kind of close to where we were when we started. So I'm just going to dial that back a little bit. Same thing with the yellow maybe. And if there's any purple in there, we might see that happen. It's all coming out in the shadows. See? In the shadows of the truck. That's where it was. And we're dialing it out and pulling out all that purple in the shadow, in the whites. So now it's like a really nice, crisp, clean white. Maybe we'll do a little radial filter here, and of course it's doing that thing again because that's how it was set up. But we'll invert that and not do the thing it's doing, because all I want to do is really just affect this frontal area right here. Just give it a touch more contrast. Yep, that's pretty good. Now the focus really is on that truck. I think that's a pretty cool photo. Yeah, I'm good with that one. I don't really think we need to do anything else. I mean, you could have a field day with filters. Even something like that where you're just lifting the reds. Kind of interesting. Warm shadows, aged photo doesn't really work very well in here. Then we can go into like, oh, my eyes. Let's never do that again. I think that's really good. I think we're going to leave that one right there. Anybody have any opinions on that one? It's a Mars rover. Oh, Robbie Bobster, this is your photo. Amazing. Thank you for checking in, my man. Yeah. Shot in food macro on your Samsung 20 Plus. Nice. Okay, cool. So that's what that was doing then, right? It was giving you the blurring on either sides to really boost whatever was in the center of the frame. Very cool. Can you combine different layers and make a photo look like HDR? Yes, you can, and you don't even need to combine multiple layers. Lightroom will allow you to do an HDR photo basically without having to have all of the different versions of the photo shot at different dynamic ranges. Why don't we do that to one of these photos? Let's make one of these HDR. This is probably a great example here because we've got nice subject, great background. Let's make this sort of HDR-ish. Let's do a crop first. Don't worry, I'm gonna bring that other truck back. Yeah, that's maybe a bit too aggressive. It's just there's so much foreground. Oops, not a lot of background. We can actually do a bit of a rotation on it. That might not be the worst thing in the whole world. Yeah, maybe something like that'll do it. Obviously, this is not constraining to any sort of... Yeah, there we go. All right. So, there should be... I think there is an HDR preset somewhere in here. Is it the sharpening one? No. I have a user preset for it, I think. Yeah, HDR stronger. So what this is doing is it's taking the full dynamic range of the photo, bright and dark, and making sure that everything is correctable. And what it inevitably does is it sharpens everything pretty dramatically. And we can even push that a bit further. You can see like instantly, like in the highlights, brings the highlights down, brings the shadows up. And that's the whole idea of HDR, is that it's kind of taking both elements from the very far end of the shadows to the very bright end of the brights and kind of giving you the full range. So that's what it's doing there. Hello, Josh. Thanks for checking in. It's nice to see you. Did you get home safely? How's the Cheeto? And then, so then in the presence here, we can just ramp up this texture, and you can see that it's really becoming quite HDR adjacent now. We are losing a bit of detail up here because, you know, it wasn't shot raw, so we don't have the full dynamic range. We can bring some of that back, though, with one of these guys, of course. Go back to our full saturation, and maybe even see now that is getting to be a pretty dramatic sky. That looks pretty great. We'll do the same thing on the bottom. Add one of these. Maybe even go a bit diagonal. I don't know why my guides have turned off, but they have. Range mask. I don't know why that went off. Weird. Anyway, where is that thing? I've lost it now. So let's start again. No, I don't want it that way. There we go. And lower the exposure, not that much. Yeah. See, now we're making the focus the trailer. That looks pretty good. Maybe even, no, we'll leave, oh, whoa. Leave that where it was. Done. And now warm up the whole shot so it feels a bit more sunset-y. Yes. Kitty is amazing, and technically I'm still on my way home. Don't text and drive. Or maybe you haven't left yet. That's probably more accurate. I'm going to give a bit more shadow back. I don't know. This, you know what? This window here isn't working for me so well. I wish I knew what button I pressed to make the guides go off. I'm still learning the keystrokes on the PC side of things, which is really annoying. I don't know where any of those things are. Oh well. Close for now. That looks pretty cool, I think. I don't know why it's turned those off. That's so strange. Anyway, watching videos and driving is fine. I mean, listening to videos is probably even more fine. So yeah, that one's looking pretty good, I think. Definitely more HDR adjacent. We can push it pretty far if you want. Like, that makes it even more HDR, but it's starting to break down because the resolution in the background isn't the best. So let's pull that back a little bit and take a look at the full screen. Wow, nice. So here's the before and the after. Definitely feeling it. Oh, I didn't even realize it was a dually. I don't have a dually. I don't have a dually in my collection. I'm looking around like, do I have one? I don't. So there we go. Another nice photo. Thank you very much for the submission. I think that's amazing. Let's move on to another one. Another one. What else have we got in the library here? What's this one? Ooh, action shot. I did ask for action shots. So this will be fun to play with. I think what we need to do here with these... Oh, nice big photo too. That's great. Lots of resolution to play with. Like the dust, like the dirt. It's a black truck. It's a bit overexposed here. This is a nice big feature rock. That's cool. Let's crop it so we don't see tons top, and maybe make it more about like it's crawling up this thing here, so we're going to leave this edge here and bring that over there, and maybe just a little bit on that side. This is more about the actual like journey. So let's, oh, this is great because it even shows me where it was shot. I wonder if there's some more info on this photo. Because I'd like to know the metadata, if there is any. Sometimes there's a way to tell where, like, what it was shot from or where it came from. But I don't remember where that is. No matter. Let's just play. So you can tell it was a warmer day than the photographer was giving us credit for. I think exposure is probably good. Maybe down a little tiny bit. Bring a little more contrast in. Let's bring down those highlights so we get a bit more, like you can see what's happening in the hood there. As you kind of roll through the highlights, you get to get a bit more texture out of that hood. And that's nice. I like that. Shadows, I think we're gonna keep those where they are, actually. Whites are good, maybe just a touch down. And then texture, we're gonna boost texture for sure because those rocks look amazing. Not totally HDR, just enough to kind of sharpen it up a little bit. It's always a warmer day when you have your VS410. Truth. That's great. Now, I want the range mask back on. Wonder why that went off. View. I don't remember what that is even called. So we'll never know why that turned off. It's so strange. Oh well. Let's pull one in this way. We're going to bring that back. You give it. We're not going to adjust anything there, but we are going to bring up the sharpness and the texture just to really amplify that rock. I like that. Call that done. And that. And HSL. What can we do here? What can we do to make that pop a little bit more? Well, we can do our standard radial filter here. Invert that. Bring our saturation back. Lift our exposure ever so slightly. Because I like seeing those reflections in the side. I really want to kind of keep those. Maybe bring the highlights down a touch more. Keep those shadows nice and boosted. Yeah, that looks good. I'm digging that. Anybody got any comments on that one? I think it's just a nice looking photo. So you can see just that boost there is really nice. So we'll kick that one done. And then a new one. Just want to try to bring this wheel to life, wheel and tire to life a little bit. Keep the saturation up. Bring up some of that texture. Look at that. Now we're talking. Nice. Looks great for a VS410. Ouch. Josh, right at you. All right, I'm feeling good about that. You're going to revisit these live streams after Axial Fest. Good idea, Darwin. Yeah, you might actually, take as many photos as you can get. That's what I like. It's always nice to overshoot. Like on the last live stream, I talked about probably shooting close to like 400 or 500 photos of the VS or which one? The Ripper? Yeah. And we ended up using like 25, 30 of them, but it's always better to have more than not enough. I'm just going to go through some of the chat here and see if there's any questions. MWall711, I have Photoshop Elements. How does Lightroom compare to Elements for someone who only does novice photo editing? Photoshop Elements is going to give you basically all the same controls. Not as many of the presets, of course. Well, actually, no presets. So you won't get any of those. But for the most part, it's going to give you a lot of the same flexibility. I don't really know much about it. I don't really know how to use it. I am a Photoshop user, so I presume it's fairly similar to that, though. Dale says he's looking into the Cross RC dually, hates the look of the body. Yeah, I don't know much about... I've never owned a Cross RC, so I don't have a ton of experience with them. But I'm not sure that they're for me either. I think they're great looking models in most cases, but their dually body is not good looking. Not at all. Try a little dehaze. Oh, okay. We could try that. Sure. Let's see what it does. See, that's opening it up a lot. That's crushing it down a bit. What do you think? Actually, you know what? That's not so bad. I don't mind that. Good suggestion. Does Lightroom come factory with most of the presets? No, Josh, it doesn't. I think you get the user presets, which are some basic but still very good or basic elements of presets. As you can see, I'm kind of scrolling through some of them, and some of them really do a really nice job on the corrections that we've done already. These intense ones are pretty fun too, and that's something we'll try on another photo. But those ones you get. The other ones, like all of these Chris Orwig ones that I have here, these are all ones that I've paid for. And some of them are great. Some of them, it really does depend on the photo itself. But yeah, you can do some pretty awesome stuff. Anyway, I think we'll leave that one as done. What have we got left here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 still in this batch. Oh man, another nice photo. I love the color of this truck. More patina on it. That's a great looking bumper. The headlights are on. It's in a nice spot. Some of the leaves and some of the elements look a little out of place for the scale of it. But you know what? It's a good looking photo. Let's make the truck more the focus of this one. And we'll keep the dimensions of everything here. I think that's probably pretty good. May have to go a bit tighter on it just to get it sort of centered, but that is still going to be really nice. Maybe even reduce the amount of overhead here. I think that's going to really play nicely there. It is a nice shot. It's a great color for a truck too, if Josh is still watching. Which I'm sure he is. We're going to really amp up this orange, I think. And then we'll maybe have fun with the preset on this one, too. This is a good-looking truck. It looks like it's an SCX-10-2. It's got wheel weights on it, so he's obviously using this as more than just a trail truck. The light kit is fantastic. It really brings a lot of life to this old Chevy body. But I'm digging this one already. Let's blue it up a little bit. We're going to cool it off ever so slightly. Tint, we're going to leave right where it is. Exposure, I don't think we need to adjust that. Contrast, maybe pull a bit more contrast in, because it really does kind of amplify the texture of the rocks without having to take contrast or put texture in. Shadows wise, I don't think we need to boost them. I actually kind of, well, maybe we do. Yeah, let's boost it ever so slightly, just plus 10. Whites are good where they are. Blacks are good too. You don't want to like make it really super heavy. We are going to give it a bit more texture because that patina and that paint kind of demands it. Door hinge rhymes if you're Eminem. Oh man, his lyric game is strong. Ryan Davis, why would you want to crop a photo? Well, let me just show you again before and the after. What we're doing is we're making the truck the focus of the photo. It is a great background and it is a great foreground and all those elements are really nice. But we're making tiny trucks look good here. So that's what I want to kind of do and make sure that the truck is the focus. You can play with where it sits in terms of the center or the left or the right of the photo, but I do kind of always want to try to make this the focus. So that's what we're doing. And to amplify that even further, we are going to do a radial mask here and probably give this a bit more room, top and bottom. And don't worry, it is definitely going to go back to its full saturation here. And we're going to play with the saturation of this orange still, but I just want to give this a touch more life overall, just a touch, just to really make it kind of pop off the page a bit. Highlights I'm going to bring down. I don't want to change the shadows too much. I think this is an RC Nerd's grill on the front of that truck. Oh yeah, see, now that we're bringing up that texture, look at how that truck is just going to pop. I love that. That looks great. Yeah, no problem, Ryan. My pleasure. Always happy to help. We're going to definitely put a vignette on there too. Let's look at the before again. I just want to see where we were at. And the after. Let's oversaturate this orange. Is that too much? I think we're going too far with that. Not if we dull back some of those greens. That looks pretty good. Let's go full screen for a moment here. I just want to show you how that looks overall. Just if we go back to the beginning. Not a bad photo. I mean, none of these are bad photos at all. And I would, you know, that's not the focus of this anyway. It's the focus is just trying to make the photos better. So there we are now. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. What else can we do? I'm going to pull out some of the aqua. But I am going to bring... just see if this magenta does anything here. Not a lot of magenta in this frame, so we're not going to obviously get anything out of that. I am going to bring up the blues, though, because look at how it's affecting the rock. Watch the front portions of these rocks here. All of a sudden, there's so much more texture in that rock. It really brings it to life. I love that. That's great. So I think that one's feeling pretty good now, too. Let's just do a before and after. Yeah, that looks awesome. Ooh, you know, let's do one more thing, actually. Let's do something kind of funky with these headlights and see if we can't get a little more texture out of them and a little more... Let me just invert this. Come on, there we go. And I just want to see if there's anything in there. It doesn't look like there's a ton of information. But because this is an old truck, it wouldn't ever have these bright white, like blue-white headlights. It would have incandescent bulbs, right? So they'd be a lot warmer. So let's try to go a little warmer overall with those. and see if we can't bring these highlights down a touch, just so we get a little of that edge. You can see it kind of coming in there now. Not much we can do tint wise. Maybe in the HSL, once we get to that, we can play around with that a little bit. I don't want to do anything sharpness wise. I don't want any texture. I don't want any clarity. I just want to kind of warm up that light a bit. Yeah, that's going to do it. Can you copy? And yeah, you can duplicate. Okay, great. And we'll just pull it over there. And maybe we'll soften or not feather it as much. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I think we'll leave that at that. Nice. Great photo. Thank you for the submission. That looks really great. I can't wait to send that one back to you because that's a nice photo. All right. Time for a Toyota. Now this is a cool photo already. I really like this one a lot. It's a different angle than some of the ones we've been looking at so far. It's like almost as if there's a real man and he's in like a ditch and he's shooting up at the truck. That looks great. Really nice photo. Thank you for sharing that one. That's really cool. And to be honest, color-wise, it's not too bad right where it is. Let's just do a little bit of correction here. I'm not going to crop this one. I think it's already a good crop. I wish these leaves weren't here. I think those are going to be a little bit harder to get rid of. We can try, but I don't know if it'll hold. I think it might look a little strange. It's doing its best though. Like, this is a pretty cool tool, not gonna lie. But it's got to find like the same amount of sharpness. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna totally work. Maybe it's just too soft. Go a bit bigger. Let's undo that. Maybe delete that entirely. Start again. It's a pretty big thing to try and fix. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm asking a lot. I won't lie. I mean, it's okay. It's not great. I think we'll probably just not do that. And just delete that entirely, because I don't think that's going to work. We'll just leave the leaf. We'll just leave the leaves. Oof. I'll show myself out. Anyway. Let's get out of that tool. Do we warm this one up or cool it off? I think we might cool this one off too. Exposure wise, I think we're pretty good. Just bring a bit more texture in there. Maybe up the vibrance a little bit, especially those oranges. That's pretty cool. Let's try a filter. Maybe reset on one of these guys. Do we do black and white? No, we've done black and white already. See if any of these Californian... Ooh, see, that's pretty cool. That's making it a very dramatic photo. It's California gold. But might be... Maybe we go like a moodier blue-green. That's kind of fun. A lot of Chris's ones are sort of warm. They just kind of go warmer in a lot of cases. Let's go into some of these original, like, see, I like a matte photo every once in a while. It just kind of takes some of that contrast away. Warm and hazy. Faded is pretty neat. That's cool. HDR seems a bit too much for this. golden hour, intense warm, but let's go intense, but then cool it off. See what that does. See, that's making it kind of interesting, but it is taking a lot of the range away, right? So now you've got all these foreground elements. They just kind of blend in with the truck itself. So I don't know. That might not be the way to go. In fact, this whole filter might not be the way to go. So let's undo that. Man, I don't know. That looks pretty good already. Let's just dial these greens back a bit, because they're a little intense. And then we'll dial the orange back a little bit too. It's almost like we're going to make it like sort of desaturated, but just in places. And pull some of that orange back in. Not take it away entirely. Yeah, black and white, Sean, I don't disagree. Black and white can be a very cool effect. It really does depend on the photo. I don't know that this is the one for it. There's just a lot of nice textures and a lot of nice stuff going on here that I wanted to keep. And I love the orange. Again, orange in photos always looks good in my opinion. Except if it's a Josh truck. Then they tend to not look so good. I'm actually going to pull some of the clarity out, because it does help separate the truck from the rocks. Let's do radial over the truck itself. Invert. Yeah, it almost makes it feel like it's a misty day in the woods that day. That's an interesting one. I like that. I think we're going to leave that right there. Let's do a before and after. Before, much warmer. After, a little bit cooler, a little bit more clear. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. All right, thank you again for the submission. That's really awesome. I really appreciate it. That's a good looking photo. Let's take a look at it full screen for a moment. It's not totally fitting in full screen there. But that looks pretty cool. Yeah, I like that one. If you're ever curious how strong your composition is, make it black and white. A good comp will still look great, but a low effort one dependent on bright colors will be called out. Interesting idea there, Joseph. Thank you for sharing that. Am I growing a mullet? Well, not all of us are lucky enough to get haircuts yet, Josh. Although Wednesday's the day that everything apparently opens back up. I'm going to be a little bit cautious on that, take my time, and actually Rebecca bought me a bandana today reminiscent of Prison Mike. So, never got caught neither. So I might have to rock that tomorrow night. Sean, you say, I've been taking pics aiming up at my trucks, and I have to say the difference in how real it looks is amazing, just changing that. Yeah, absolutely. When you get down to the level that your truck is at, it makes it feel like you are that size, like you are that tall of a human in front of the tiny truck, and it just adds so much more dimension. Like, you don't see a lot of trucks in real life shot from way up above. That's true, Steve. The front fender is a bit bright. Let's see if we can't just get an adjustment brush in there and see if there's anything in there. I don't know that there is. We'll see here. Yeah, there's no information there. You can see that nothing holds up. So that will not work. Unfortunately, it's just the photo. So we're just going to have to live with that. We could try bringing the highlights down, but I don't think it's going to help, to be honest. Oops. No, let's get rid of that. Done. We can try, but yeah, there's no information there, so you're just going to have to kind of deal with it, unfortunately. Moving on to another photo. Ooh, nice metric body, and what I love about this one is that there's another truck in the background, which is great. It's nice to have a little bit of scenery in the background to kind of help sell that it might be a real truck. So let's do a crop on this one too. I feel like it's actually not too badly centered. Oops. But we can tighten it up a little bit, I think. Still keeping that truck in the background. What's nice also by pulling this down is that it makes this rock feel a little less like it's just stopping right there. Like maybe it's like a start of a hill or a mountain or something, and by not seeing the top of it, you don't really know how high it is. So it kind of helps sell the whole photo. That might be a bit too aggressive on the crop. That's actually better. Yeah, okay. Now there is this big leaf here. I'd love to get rid of that one. Let's see if we can. We should be able to. Oh, that's not the tool I wanted. I wanted this tool. And we'll make that smaller. Probably somewhere around there. This should work. And what it's doing, obviously, is it's finding a spot in this photo. You can see this is where it's pulling it from. And it's going to replace it with more sticks. Like it was never there. Hey, Fistful of Throttle RC, this is your picture. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for following along. And thank you for submitting a photo. This is really great. It's a really nice photo. Thank you again. Now you saw I got rid of that big leaf. Much better composition. Let's do some correcting here. Exposure wise, it's pretty good. I just gave it a 0.04 boost. Contrast, I think we're probably good right where we are. Shadows, I'm also pretty pleased. Texture, we're going to bring that up a little bit. Clarity, we're going to bring that up a little bit too, because it just kind of, on a Lexan body especially, it helps accent the crisp lines, or makes the lines more crisp in the body. So this way, it feels a little more realistic. Oh, sorry, I got to stretch my neck. I'm staring up at the screen all day. Yeah, let's do a vignette, medium. I do love that this truck in the background is blurry, and it also kind of looks like it's moving too. It's a really nice little touch there. Texture, clarity, vibrance. Let's make it a little more vibrant. We're also going to change the tint, because as you can see, when you shoot in the woods and there's a lot of green around, you're going to get a lot of reflection into any vehicle, especially ones that are lighter than the scene. So like a white truck, sort of a gold truck like this, it's going to pick up all of those greens. So if we kind of move the tint a bit away from green, like you can see that's like really green, and that's where it was. But if we just give it a subtle push towards magenta, it pulls all that green out of the reflections. So now it looks a lot more gold. So now we can go in and give it a bit more overall saturation to really help make that gold really pop. And now it's really popping in the wheels, and this foreground looks really great too, because you're getting a lot more texture and a lot more life to all of those colors. But the greens are like super neon now, which is way too much green. So we can actually go into the saturation and just dial that back a bit. Not getting rid of it entirely, just getting rid of it a little bit. And then hue-wise, we can also go in and change the color temperature of the green itself. So we can go like really yellow if we want to make it feel a bit more fall. Or we can go super green again and make it feel completely like a different planet. I'm leaning more towards this kind of range here. We're also going to have to go in and maybe adjust the saturation of aqua, because you can see some of those leaves are still coming in as super punchy, and just bringing those down help a lot. Those are just some really simple corrections, and already I really feel like this truck has gone and made itself look totally different. I wonder if we even go like really more autumn with those leaves. Like that now to me really kind of helps sell the whole photo because it feels a little less springtime and summer, and it matches the color of the truck a lot better now too. So I'm gonna fix the saturation on those aqua leaves even more, just so they don't like super look weird. Actually, we'll change the hue on the aqua and see if we can't get those to shift a bit more into the yellow world as well. Yeah, maybe just pull the blue out too. Yeah, that's what was doing it. Okay, so there we go. That to me looks way better. Let's also just do a quick radial mask. Maybe pull this in a little bit. And all we're going to do here is we're not going to affect saturation. Oops, I mean to invert that. There we go. Maybe just a touch more saturation than everything else in the photo, and a touch more exposure. Just ever so slight though, you don't want to overdo it. And there. Reggie, this is the Proline metric body, and it looks like Ryan's added some Night Customs 3D printed parts. Those look like they're Shapeways printed, or no, those are FDM. He printed those at home, it looks like, and just did a nice job sanding them. But it looks amazing. I have a metric body, and I don't remember it turning out this good. So kudos to you for doing a great job on that one, Ryan. Really nice job. Yeah, gosh, man, you did a pretty kick-ass job on this whole thing. So I don't know. I think that's probably going to do it. Do you guys want to do a little before and after here? All right, here's the before and the after. I think that really brings it to life. That looks really, really good. It's just nice to take a photo that, you know, for all intents and purposes was not a bad photo. It was a great photo. Just do a couple of really subtle things to it. Really changes the whole dynamic of the photo. I think that looks amazing. Great job, guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for submitting that photo. That's a really good one. And finally, oh, we actually have two more here. I might as well do both, right? Oh, this is Fistful of Throttle. That was Fistful of Throttle's photo, not Ryan's. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, you did a great job. Looks amazing. And, oh, you did get those from Shapeways. Okay, all right, cool. They look pretty good. I just thought you did a really good job sanding them, so you fooled me. Good job. Green Jeep. Looks like he's got his Instagram handle on there, @ScaleCrawl3er. This is an Element as well. Lots of Element RCs today. This is already a pretty great looking photo. I think we can probably give it a bit more love. Crop wise, I think we're good. Let's warm it up, making it a sort of California day, maybe even. Do we go like crazy with a preset? These California golds are a little harsh for me. Do a grainy vignette? No. California red gold, maybe? These are all pretty hot. I don't know. These don't really do it for me in terms of presets. Let's just play with this as it is. I kind of like the green color that he's got going on there. I don't want to lose that. So shadows, we're going to give those a boost because I want to show off that grill, that angry grill. Whites, I think we're pretty good right there. Blacks, we can probably go down a little bit. Looks like you had to repaint or painted the doors separate from the body. Did you? I bet you did. Let's bring in a gradient here and reboost our saturation and warm that up a little bit more. Maybe reduce the exposure overall. Yeah, just a little bit, not tons. Texture up a little bit. Yeah, there's not really much more I would do to this unless we're going to go and do something like crazy like... Where's my HDR? Popper's pretty nice. That's just kind of giving it a lot more enthusiasm in the intensity. These oranges and reds are popping pretty hardcore, so let's see what we can do about that. Oops. Maybe reduce our saturation of those reds just a touch. Somewhere in there maybe. Because I don't want to take attention away from the truck with the distraction of the orange up there, but I think that's pretty good. Yeah, cool. Black peel coat. All right. I don't know that I really would do much else to this. It's a pretty good photo. Good composition. I like the environment that it's in. Nice job. What do we got here? One more. Oh, this is kind of an interesting shot. So we've got a really big foreground element here of a truck, and then a background element of the Defender there. This is going to be a little bit tough because there is a lot of foreground stuff going on here, but let's see what we can do to give this a bit of love. I think we'll start by doing a radial just over here. Bring our saturation back to normal. It's pretty tough because the foreground truck is the thing that's in focus, and the background truck here is the thing that should be the thing that's in focus. So, you know, I totally get what you were going for. I don't know that you quite got there, but it's, you know, good to experiment and play around. If you can, depending on your camera, you can always sort of, like even on an iPhone, you can pick the area of interest. So when you're framing up for this photo and you want your foreground element to be out of focus and you want your background element, in this case, to be in focus, try to, I think you can tap on that while you're taking your shot just before you hit the shutter, and it should focus on that element and keep this foreground element out of focus like you want. We won't be able to change that here, but we can at least maybe get it so we understand that that's the focus of this photo. And maybe we do one of those things where we pull out all the green in the HSL and just see what happens if we do that. I mean, that orange is really super overdone, but yeah, I don't know. This one's going to be a bit of a challenge, I think. But I'm not one to shy away from one. Maybe this is a good opportunity to do a bit of a crop as well. Get rid of some of that foreground truck, but still, you know, still so you know that it's a truck. We'll just leave it sort of in that kind of realm there. And maybe this is a good opportunity for us to do a little black and white, maybe. Or maybe even make it feel like an old school photo. Like it was shot like in the 70s or 80s. Or it's like, maybe you go into sort of like this super hot kind of world where it almost feels as if you were, you know, on a safari or whatever. You just kind of clicked this real quick. This is a much better crop, though, for sure. Maybe even black and white. No, black and white, you don't really see anything because there's a lot of foreground elements. I think we'll just leave this one at this. and kind of call that one. Maybe it's a bit overexposed. Let's see if we can't pull this down a little bit more. That's a little bit better. Maybe even go a bit warmer and get that tint. Yeah, so now it's become more like a vintage photo. Let's add some grain, actually. I think I have a nice grain filter in here somewhere. Where is it? Grain. Heavy grain. Now it feels like a vintage photo. I'm just going to go full screen for you guys so you can see that. Right? Now it feels like this was shot in like on some really crappy old film, and it was sort of like a quick shot, like, oh, we got to get it real quick before the dam bursts or whatever, right? So maybe that's something that, you know, if it's not the best photo, you can kind of use it to your advantage and give it a bit more art. And that's a good way of doing it. So I think that's looking pretty good. All right, so that's that. Yeah, like a Polaroid. Exactly, Steve. Thank you. That's exactly what I was going for. All right, so that's all the photos I had in this group. There are a lot more. Let's go through them all again, one by one. There's our first one. That still is, that might be one of my favorites of the night. I'm kind of curious about what you guys think. Yeah, that's how photos looked when I was a kid. Darn you, Harley. You always think you're so funny, huh? Oh, that's weird. Where'd that photo go? It was just here and now it's gone. Did I do something? Yes, I did. I didn't mean to do that. All right. Yes, this is what photos looked like when I was a kid. Oh, hey, Josh, did you see that I'm having a Caesar tonight? Your favorite clam tomato flavored drink. I'm drinking out of a mason jar that says greetings from Canada. Just for you. Yeah, okay, so number one. Nice VS410. That's an Origin too, isn't it? With the top cut off and the Night Customs cage on it. Very nice. I really like that one, John. Yes, Josh is not making the barf face at your photo, John. He's making the barf face at my clam juice drink, which I'm going to drink again. It's so spicy. Number two was this nice action shot of another VS410. I really love how the rocks really kind of came to life. And, you know, now that I'm looking at that again. See, this is the thing. Photos are never done. You're never done. I wonder if that does anything there. That's kind of fun. I just threw a bit of blue more into the shadows than anywhere else. But, yeah. So... here's an HDR sort of attempt with this truck and trailer. If you can't dodge it, ram it. Then there's this nice looking Chev here. I really like how we kind of took out all the color in the background and the foreground except for a little bit of the browns and left that teal to just really kind of pop off the screen. I think that one is looking pretty awesome. Another Chevy, more orange this time, but another nice patina. I really like these patinaed paint jobs. Reminds me of a lot of stuff I've been doing lately, so good one. This nice Toyota from the low angle. I think that's a lot of fun. I might actually, before I send this back to the submitter, I'm going to get rid of that leaf because I can't deal with it. I can't. I got to get rid of it. So we'll get rid of that one. This great looking metric. Man, oh man. The before and after on this, I think, is probably... Whoa, Mike! Thank you very much, my man. That's really, really special of you. And a little love right back at you. So, Mike, if you want, you could send me a couple of photos and I'll edit them off camera and I'll send them to you as a thank you for that. So thanks very much. The before and after on this one, I think, is probably my favorite of the day. That's the before and the after. I really love what this photo does now. I just think it looks so great. such a big change too. Nice green Jeep. Not a big change on this one, but definitely just enough to kind of give it a bit more love. You can definitely see, like, in the oranges and a bit of the background there, it's definitely improved. Nice warm Polaroid. It's, oh, you know what? Actually, you know what this reminds me of now? It reminds me of the film of Bigfoot. You know, where he's doing the walk through the woods? It looks just like a Super 8 video or Super 8 film. That's what that looks like. I think that looks awesome. This great looking Land Cruiser in Australia, mate. So chuffed with that one. Really, really cool. And finally, our nice purple Ford Raptor in front of the dam here. Just what a great sky. You know, when I do a lot of automotive commercials for my real job. I'm a film editor. And one of the things that they do all the time in all of my car ads is, like, when it wasn't a great day for filming and the skies are just sort of flat and there wasn't any texture like there is in this photo. The thing that we do is we actually have, like, a library of motion skies of, like, just people that went out and filmed skies. Like, actually the color corrector or the colorist who does all that work on these commercials, he films skies just so he has a library of skies. And then he, like, comps them in and matches perspective and matches all the camera moves and everything. So we have nice looking skies for our car ads. So next time you're watching a car commercial, if it looks really great, it's probably because of all the work the colorist did. So that's what we did today. I wonder, you know what? Maybe let's just do a bonus photo. Maybe there's one from my collection that's in here that we could do just for fun. Let's do, because I was talking about doing action photos, let's do this one. This one was from Axial Fest 2016 or 2017. Oh, Josh, yeah, I'll definitely, I'll put some links, not in this one, but in the next one, I'll put a link to some of my more favorite preset groups, or preset people anyway. I bought a bunch that are on other computers, but I will definitely put them on this PC and make sure to send links out for those. This shot was from Axial Fest 2016 or 17. This is a truck from Scale by Chris, who does a lot of 3D printing stuff. Yeah, I shot this. Look at all that wicked dust. If you've never been to Axial Fest at Donner or in the old days Cisco Grove, wow. So that was cool. I'm not sure if anybody's still there. If you are, great. If you aren't, sorry. That was a crash. The whole computer just crashed. So, yeah, that's sort of a weird one. Yeah. Believe it or not, that's what happened. Here, I have a photo of it to prove it. Like, what are the odds that, of course, my computer would crash? Yeah, it was definitely the PC. Anyway, we're back. We were sort of pretty much done anyway. Why don't I just load up Lightroom again and see if we just can't do one more photo just for the fun of it. It is what it is. But not a big deal. What photo was I going to do? I don't even remember now. Thanks for everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. Oh, it looks like the chat's coming in now. And it was like, hey, what happened? Anyways, yeah, I had a minor crash, but everything is fine now. Let's do... Oh, you know what? Let's do my 10 Origin. More than just your PC crashing. Lost again? What are your old photos? Well, I have a ton, but we're just going to do this one for now. Because this one shows sort of the range. Like, this is as shot. And I was like, it's nice, but it's dark. And it's really super easy to bring some back into those shadows. Just like that. Just elevate your shadows and all the texture and everything comes back. And that's why you shoot RAW or high-res JPEG, because this will bring everything back that you thought wasn't there anymore. If you shoot just like on a regular phone, it doesn't always work. Oh yeah, the dust photo. That's right. Sorry. Let's do that one, because that's a much more interesting photo. All right. Scale by Chris. His Chevy Blazer on an axial chassis with Vanquish. I think those are rock jocks under there. Really great photo. Tons of dust everywhere at Cisco Grove. Very dry, but such beautiful country up there. So let's warm it up. Already just bringing that warmth into the shadows and into the highlights just brings so much life into this. Maybe a little texture overall to really amplify some of those dust bits. And then I think what we'll do is oversaturate a little bit and vibrance. And then we'll go HSL and we'll bring up the blues. Because you can see how it shadows around the trees. That's a really nice effect. And we'll bring some more. Actually, we'll tone down the orange ever so slightly. We'll bring up the yellows because that's going to bring up the dust again. And the reds. That green of that camp light looks a little distracting, so we'll pull that down a touch. Maybe we'll do a radial. On the truck itself. Bring back that saturation. Bring up the exposure a little bit so we get more of that texture in there. Give it a bit more texture overall. This was Axial Fest 2017. You know how I know that? Because he's got a license plate on there that says so. Maybe a bit of sharpness in that overall. Call that adjustment done. And it does look a little King of Hammerish, yeah. Let's crop too. Why not? It's got a lot of nice background, but I kind of want to keep the truck as the focus, but still keep all that dust. Yeah. There we go. I'm loving it. Let's see, maybe actually let's play with the shadows a bit more on this one too. See, just subtle adjustments, man. Like, you don't need to move these sliders a whole bunch. It's just a little tiny bit, and it does change so much. Maybe we'll do one more kind of on an angle here. And just oversaturating it a bit. And I'm going to bring more clarity in just to really amp up that dust. It's just, it's so pretty. Yeah. Maybe that red's a bit hot again overall. Where's my HSL? Oh, sorry, done. Yeah, reds are a bit overdone. There we go. That's better. 2 Chainz Scalers sticker on the back there too. I love Elio and Adam. Those guys are the best. They do a lot of tiny truck stuffing. There we go. Yeah, I think that's good. Did we mess with the blues? Yes, we did. Luminance. The blues. See, you can really play with that a lot. That's maybe going a bit too far because it's starting to degrade a little bit. So let's just leave it sort of right there. I think we're done with that one. after. There we go. I think that's a really good place to end it. I'll stick around here for a few minutes and we can talk about stuff if you like. Thanks, guys. I really do appreciate you watching and following along and submitting your photos. Don't forget, just keep submitting. I've got a lot in the pipeline to get through. So we'll probably do this again next week. This has been really fun for me, and I hope it's just as much fun for you guys too. Submissions at scalebuildersguild.com. I've got the email loaded up right here, and it looks like actually there's a bunch rolling in as we're doing the live stream. So that's pretty cool. It really makes this a lot more interactive when there is people participating. So thank you for doing that. It's really amazing for me to see all of these photos too. It's, you know, one thing to kind of interact with them on the forums or on Facebook. It's another thing entirely to get them sent to me and allow me to play with them and have some fun. So thank you very much for that. It's really great. And the donations are very nice too. Not necessary at all, but I do appreciate it. It does make these things very fun. Yeah. So I think that's probably going to do it for tonight. Craig, I think that quality on yours is good. Let me just double check. There were a lot that came through. Yeah, 4.4 megs. That's pretty good. It has a weird kind of graininess to it, and I don't know if that's because of what you shot it on. Was that on a phone? I see Dana in the window. Yeah, I think I'll probably be able to work with that one, but you can let me know what you shot that one with. Submissions at scalebuildersguild.com. Yes, thank you. And if you haven't liked the video already, like it again. Like unclick it and then click it again, just for the sake of doing it. Oh, Ryan wanted to know how the shakedown run went. It went very well. Video's already on YouTube and doing really well, by the way. Performing very well, I might say. So, yeah, definitely check that out if you haven't already. I had an amazing time on that truck. It is definitely the best looking / performing Class 2 I think I've ever done. And I've had a few. Before the Jelly Bean, I think my favorite was the SR5 that Josh bought and then resold on his what's it called? Flip That Truck series. That was my favorite up until this one. That one over there. Yes. Also, that Range Rover has gotten a... Well, you know what? I'll save that for tomorrow night. We'll see you again tomorrow night for the next live stream takeover, episode 15 with Josh. Very much looking forward to that. He and I have a lot of things to go over. In fact, I'm going to have to text him right now and see where we're at on a couple of our other projects. So, yeah, I think that's going to do it. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you again on the next one.